Welcome to the Travel Tidbits Podcast, hosted by me, Jamie Weitl, travel advisor and owner of Pineapple Escapes Travel. Join me as I share the latest travel news, top destinations, and expert tips for the savvy traveler. Because after all, travel makes life sweeter. Welcome back to the Travel Tidbits Podcast, where we share travel tips, destination inspiration, and everything you need to make your next trip unforgettable. I'm your host, Jamie Weitl, and today's episode is extra special because I'm joined by my husband, Mike. Under duress, I might add, but he is here to talk to us a little bit about our whirlwind trip to Aruba. Last weekend, we went to Aruba. We checked out Secrets Baby Beach. We went down to the other side of the island to check out some of the hotels there. We explored around the island, and we're going to share our impressions of the resort, the highlights of our quick getaway, and why Aruba should definitely be on your travel radar. So, Mike, thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
He's under duress. It will be okay. He doesn't realize that this is not that big of a deal. He just has to talk to me for 30 minutes, but you would think I was killing him here. So I guess we need a little backstory here before we get into Aruba. So Mike came home one afternoon and said, I think we need to go to Chicago for a night. Like, we just needed a getaway. We needed something, right?
That's not at all how it went down.
Oh, how'd it go?
So I came home and I said, we need to get away somewhere. And when I think about that, I think some relatively close destinations, something relatively low cost, something I can drive to. So I suggested, what if we consider Chicago? We've been talking about going downtown there for a little while. Should we think about that? And Jamie said, yeah, that's something we could consider. I'll look into it. And she came back to me the next day with, hey, how about instead of Chicago, we go to Aruba?
So we spent 3 nights in Aruba. It was an interesting flight. We did use our Southwest points for our flight, so we did have layovers, which was fine. We didn't have any trouble, but they were long travel days. It's not like flying to Cancun where it's a nonstop and pretty easy flight for a 3-day or 4-day trip. So it was a longer travel time. What were your thoughts there?
It was no big deal. I know we're usually pretty spoiled flying out of Chicago. We don't have to do a lot of connecting flights. But this was actually real nice. Got us a chance to get out, stretch our legs for a little bit, check out the Orlando airport. We were in Orlando.
Because we don't know that one at all.
And then continue on our way.
Yeah, and then we were at Baltimore on our way back, which neither of us had ever been through that airport. So that was a good experience, something different for me to kind of get a feel of. So that was good, I thought, and it wasn't that bad. And we enjoy reading our books on the plane and resting. So
had a chance to get some food that was not airline food.
That's always a good thing, too. Yes, for sure. So we ended up in Aruba for a 3-day weekend, and we stayed at the brand new Secrets Baby Beach. So, Mike, we landed in Aruba. What were your first impressions of Aruba? What were your first thoughts as we pulled up to the resort?
So pulled up to the resort is different than my first thoughts of Aruba.
Okay.
I had something different in my head of what Aruba was compared to what I ended up with when we came out of the airport. I expected much more of a tropical island feel, similar to like Dominican Republic or something like that. It was not that. It was very much desert island. Look, lots of cactuses, very dry, hot. But then we got our transfer over to the resort, and coming up to the resort, it's a little bit like playing hide and seek with a resort. It was a lot different than I've found going to other resorts. Lots of twists and turns and small roads, and this is definitely an area that is new to the resort business. It doesn't have quite the same infrastructure that I'm used to seeing on some of the other islands.
Right. So Secrets Baby Beach is on the other side of the island from where all of the main tourist activity is currently. But they are in a process of building more rooms at Secrets Baby Beach, and then there is hope that there will be a Dreams over there as well. But we were on the quiet side of the island. The Baby Beach Bay area is a public beach, but very quiet, very much more quiet than the touristy section of Aruba we found when we went exploring. But I completely agree with Mike. Like, very deserty, kind of has like a Cabo feel. If you've been to Cabo, that same desert cactus feel that is a little bit different from what you're looking at in some of the other islands where it's very lush and green and overgrown. So definitely a different feel overall, I thought. But I mean, definitely still that island vibe, just a different topography, I guess would be the best way to put it. So let's dive into Secrets Baby Beach. So I picked this resort because it's one that I've been really excited about. I personally love Secrets and Dreams resorts. They're some of my favorite. They're more moderate, middle of the line, but usually a pretty good price point for what you're getting and for the amenities that are included. So they're always one of my top picks, and I've been to the most of them. So I've kind of gotten a feel for what the different ones are and what they offer. So I definitely wanted to see this one, so I was glad to be there. So Mike, let's talk about, you've been to a lot of these resorts with me. We just went to Secrets Tides in July. We've been to Secrets Divine. We've done a lot of Secrets resorts, Dreams resorts with the kids, that sort of thing. So you've also experienced a lot of these. Obviously, I've been to more with the agents, but thinking about like the location and the setting of the resort, what really stood out to you about where Baby Beach was and how it was set up?
The location is amazing. The view off the resort into the Caribbean is, I mean, it sounds silly to say it's unmatched. They have infinity pools that look out kind of over. So the resort is not right on the beach. However, it is a stone's throw from the beach and kind of down maybe a little bit of a hill to get to the water. So the infinity pools really do what infinity pools are supposed are. They're good at creating the illusion that the infinity pools are supposed to create, where you're looking straight from the pool into the ocean. Beautiful area, not a lot of extraneous stuff around the resort, which I found to be kind of refreshing. A lot of these places get kind of touristy, which is fine for some people. That just is not my jam most of the time. So the layout of the resort, I thought, was overall pretty good. You can definitely see that it's a work in progress.
I guess when I think about it, like, it's definitely, you can tell they're set up for stage 2. So like we were basically on half of what will be the whole Secrets resort. So you can kind of tell that they're set up for stage 2. And again, I felt like there was more of a Cabo vibe. Like the beach is swimmable. Like if you walk down to it, it is very swimmable. There is a lot of hype about this. It's probably a 3 to 5 minute walk from the resort to the beach. But I had in my head like this like hill and it was going to be this thing. And really you just walk down and it's
3
fine.
to 5 minutes if you're slow.
Well, sometimes I'm kind of slow, but I mean, it didn't bother me to not be directly on the beach. And then when you go to a resort in Cabo, typically those beaches aren't swimmable. So you're in those infinity pools looking out over the ocean in the same way up on a little bluff type of setting like this was, but you really can't go get in the ocean. This one, you can walk down and the water is gorgeous. Like the water blows Cancun, Punta Cana, these other locations out of the water.
As much as I enjoy those places, you are absolutely correct. The water is pristine. It is that real light blue color because the sand is super white. It's super soft. It is about perfect. When I think about a beach on an island, this is what I'm thinking of. This is what I'm looking for.
Right. When you want to get in the water, this is what you're looking for. Like there are definitely some places that we have been where we don't want to get in the water. Like we have experienced that. And so we just stick with the pools and we're fine. But this one was one where you definitely wanted to be in that water, to enjoy it, to swim in it, and liked it, I thought. So, and just so pretty, so pretty.
One of the things I really liked with the beaches, and this wasn't just outside of the resort, but the island appears to have gone to the effort of building shade huts along the beaches and not just on the popular beaches, even other ones that we were driving by. It's the same style. It's kind of nice where you can get out of the sun because it is very direct sun right there. It's quite warm there also. I want to say when I checked the weather, it was high in the low 90s and a low in the low 80s. So it was warm the whole time, but not humid, which I thought was a nice change from something like Cancun or Dominican Republic. Sometimes that can get a little
sticky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I will say on our day out exploring, I don't think I've ever been that hot in my life. We went, so we'll talk about our whole day. So on Saturday, we decided to rent a car. And that's really the thing to do in Aruba. Like, unless you were down in the touristy part or you're just there to relax, you're going to want to go out exploring. So we rented a car on Saturday and went out and explored the island. But we ate in a restaurant that had no air conditioning. And I don't know if it was the beer, if it was just my body, but I was hot. Like, hot. And I don't usually get hot like that. So that was entertaining. But let's talk a little bit about our day exploring the island. Give us a little rundown of what we did and your thoughts.
So we rented a car and decided to just go see what we could find. And one of the things I don't know if I'd call it a good habit or a bad habit, but I like probably torturing Jamie a little bit by
you think?
Simply finding a road that I want to go explore and turning down it. It's even better if it's not paved. And only thing that tops that is if there's a sign that says, yeah, don't drive down here.
And we're in a rental car.
So we went exploring and found some really incredible countryside that obviously ATVs and bikes were better suited to handle this. But that's part of the fun.
Than our small economy rental car, yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we checked out some beaches that had nobody on them. Just sun, surf, and the stuff that was coming in with the waves. It was beautiful. Got into some areas that were super dense cactus, where if something were to happen there, you're going to be walking down the road, not going cross country trying to find something. And then we got back into some of the more populated areas. Drove across the island. So we were staying down in the southeast corner of the island, and we decided to go check out the northwest point, where there is a lighthouse.
California Lighthouse.
California Lighthouse, thank you. So we really did cover a good chunk of the island, I think, at least on paved roads.
Yes.
Roughly half the island appears to be some kind of a national park, and mostly undeveloped. So that was part of the area where we went at the very start. But then
Jamie decided maybe this wasn't the safest idea, and so we went back to paved road.
That's a good way to put it.
Lord. So one of the things that I really wanted to do, so I had never been to Aruba before, which I know sounds crazy, but I also had never sold Aruba before. Several of my agents have been, a lot of them have sold it, but it's never been something I've sold because I've never been there. So I wanted to go down to the other resort area and walk through some of those hotels, experience what the feel was down in that area. So I have a good understanding of what is offered down there, what types of resorts are there, what that feels like. And so we went down there, we walked through numerous hotels, we walked the strip, I guess you would call it, and just kind of experienced some of that for ourselves. And so I kind of felt like it had a Waikiki Beach / Vegas vibe was my overall thought. What did you think?
Great way to put it. Quite touristy. Mm-hmm. Not that that's a bad thing. That's just a different side of the island. So it's kind of nice to have one island where you have multiple options like that.
Right.
Everything relatively close together. There's a nice trail along the beach behind the hotels, so you can kind of decide if you don't like being right behind whatever resort you're staying at there. You can just pop down the beach to another one and find a slightly different vibe. Little shops down there, shops up on the strip where the cars are.
Yeah, lots of cute like boutique clothing and tchotchke type stores. Lots of restaurants. Like that's one thing that Aruba is known for. Like personally, unless I'm going to the Secrets, I'm probably not going to stay at an all-inclusive down on the other end. I did look at those, but most likely I'm going to stay at just a normal hotel so I can go out and experience the food, go out and explore instead of staying at an all-inclusive on that side of the island. One thing I liked, so Secrets is obviously all inclusive, but over on that side of the island, you really kind of need it. Like there's not a lot over there, but it was really nice to be able to quickly rent a car. You rent a car right there in the lobby of Secrets Baby Beach, and you could go out exploring. So if you wanted that nightlife, a few of the nights of your trip, you could just rent a car and go over and experience it.
Easily.
Yeah.
Half an hour, maybe drive total.
Right. Or if you were drinking or that sort of thing, you could get a taxi. That's not a big deal either. But
that was one thing we found. No Uber or Lyft.
Yeah, there's no Uber or Lyft in Aruba. So you would have to get a taxi or a private driver instead of, as we're used to in the US, just calling an Uber. That wasn't an option for us. But we rented the car and you could easily do that if you wanted to experience some of that nightlife, to go have that other side feel. But Mike and I are more these kinds of trips where it's just the two of us, and mostly I'm going for work, but it's nice to be able to take him and get a break in there as well. Don't make fun of me. But I feel like that's what we like. We like quiet. We like peaceful. We like to be able to get in the water, have a drink.
Go at our own speed.
Right. And to be able to just chillax a little bit. I think our daily life is pretty busy at home with 3 teenagers, and just even a couple of days where we can just be together and be ourselves is nice. So.
Yes. It kind of restores us.
Yeah. And I think all marriages need that, especially in the phase of life we're in with kids and everything. It's just nice. I mean, it's a little reset. So.
I don't know if any of you are like us, feel pulled in about a million different directions each day.
Yeah, that might be the understatement of the century. But so we did explore that other side, and there were some resorts I liked. So if you're looking for more party, you want to be out every night, you want to eat different food at the restaurants every night, I can definitely hook you up with that as well. The Secret side, I think, is more relaxing, romantic, restful, but you could still get a piece of that vibe if you wanted to. So it's kind of that weird mix. But if you're going to Aruba, I definitely recommend renting a car and exploring at least one of your days so that you kind of get that full picture.
We were able to rent the car directly at the Secrets.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yeah, right at the lobby. Mm-hmm. So that was really nice, really easy. So we did enjoy our day exploring as well. We ended up stopping at a restaurant called Charlie's. It's this really eclectic bar. This is where I got super overheated, but food was good, really neat vibe, live music, just a fun atmosphere filled with all kinds of things from all over the walls. Just a really neat experience too.
You covered that one real well.
Okay.
It looks like as people have come back to visit, they will bring something that they think the bar would like as an interesting tchotchke piece, and they put it up on the wall or they hang it from the ceiling. Good food, good drink, small, and it does take reservations.
Yeah, we didn't have a reservation. We
didn't have to have one, though.
Yeah. So we just walked in, but I think if you're there during a busier time or like when a cruise ship is in port,
might be a different story at that point.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want reservations. But overall, our day exploring went really well. We enjoyed that, but then it was nice to get back to the resort. I was so ready for our swim up. I was so hot. I couldn't wait to get in the water. It was so nice. And our swim out was on the back. I always asked for the most quiet area. I know I'm kind of crazy like that, but I like it quiet. There was no one in our swim out. We had the whole back of the resort to ourselves, basically. So it was really nice.
Just us and the pigeons and the seagulls.
There were a lot of pigeons. Yes, us and those pigeons. It was a good time. So I want to kind of give a few travel tips for anyone who's doing one of these short weekend getaways. Because I do think, like we said, this is a great way to reset. It's a great way to just kind of have a little bit of time to yourselves and get away. But it is different when you're packing for a quick getaway, when you're going away for such a short amount of time, than it is when you're packing for a long trip or a big family trip, those sorts of things. So let's talk a little bit about how we packed for this trip and what it was like doing such a short whirlwind trip.
Okay, so I always find that when I am packing for trips, I tend to overpack. I am a what if packer. What if I want this? What if I want this? When trying to do a trip like this, I found that I don't need to worry as much about changes in weather. I don't need to worry about what if it's going to be rainy. I don't have to pack for that kind of stuff. So it allows me to be concise, pack only the must-haves rather than the what-ifs. And as long as I am limiting myself to what I can fit in my carry-on bag, I don't want to have to wait for the carousel at the airport.
Right. And with our layover, like we would hate on a 3-day trip, you'd hate for your bag to get lost and have to wait for it and that sort of thing. So we did pack carry-on only. We each had our carry-on in our backpack. For me, the biggest difference, I think, for this trip between and other types of trips is when I'm with Mike, I don't worry about what I look like as much. I know that sounds horrible. I'm sorry. But
no, we even said, you know what? Don't even bother bringing makeup. It's not going to be a big deal.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't see me every day anyway. So I don't feel like I have to get dressed up. Like when I'm going on a business trip or I'm traveling with the agents, I dress more appropriately, I guess. I packed swimsuits. I had a few dresses for dinner, but I didn't get fancied up for dinners or anything. It was just a trip about seeing these places and then spending some time together. So I didn't really worry about that. I did have 3 swimsuits because I hate putting on a wet swimsuit, that sort of thing, but it wasn't fancy. And I think sometimes that's nice to give yourself a break in that regard. There are plenty of trips where I do have to pack business attire and blazers and pants. And
this was not that trip.
Yeah. And so that's really nice. So, but I do recommend definitely for trips like this, carry on, don't check a bag, and don't overpack either. I do always bring a sweatshirt because I get cold a lot of the time on planes, that sort of thing. But just really think through what you really need and don't overpack because it's such a short trip. I also think a big thing is not overloading your itinerary. I think there's a tendency when you're going anywhere to be like, oh, I have to do this and I have to do this and I have to do this. And
try to fit it all in.
Yeah. And I think probably maybe I'm unique in this is I think, oh, well, I'll be back. And so I can get a taster feel without overwhelming myself. And so we only did one day where we rented the car and I felt like that was enough. And we were only out, 7 or 8 hours maybe.
Yeah.
And that was plenty. And we spent the rest of the time at the resort. I actually read 3 books while we were gone. Between the flights definitely helped with that too. But we just relaxed and that was really nice. So make sure that you're budgeting in that time to relax, to enjoy the water, to enjoy the beach so you don't feel so rushed. I get that you want to go and do and see. And I think there's definitely a place for that. And there are some trips where that's what it is. It's a trip. You're going, you're doing, you're seeing. We take those trips too. But these kinds of trips where you're going to an all-inclusive or you're going to a beach, I think you need to kind of balance out those excursions and those sorts of things to kind of enjoy the resort and enjoy your time and rest a little bit too.
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear.
I don't have anything to add to that one.
Okay. Mike, what'd you think overall about Aruba? Did you feel safe? How did you feel about the service? That sort of thing.
Absolutely felt safe. There was nothing there that felt sketchy. Driving around the island, I'm sure there could be places that maybe you don't want to just stroll through, but if there is, I did not find it. One of our drivers mentioned at one point that in school, they teach, was it 4 languages, I believe? So English, very widespread. Spanish, very widespread. They have their own island language, which seems to be a combination of all of the other languages together.
Creole.
Yeah, like a Creole,
Yeah.
right? And then I didn't catch what the 4th language was. Did you?
I thought it was Dutch, English,
Dutch,
Spanish, and Creole.
Aruba is a Dutch protectorate, it's attached to the Dutch
some way.
in some fashion. Yeah. Yes, it sounds like they can have a Dutch passport even, the folks who live there. Lots of roundabouts when you're driving.
Yes.
So if you're not used to roundabouts, that you just need to use your brain a little bit as you're doing that drive.
Yeah.
But no, it was a very safe place. I didn't feel weird driving around there. Easy to communicate with everybody. Everybody was friendly. Sometimes we go to some of the all-inclusives shortly after they open, and service is, I guess I'd say, questionable at best. But we did not run into that at all at this resort. It sounds like they had brought in a fair number of people to train the new staff on how to run an all-inclusive resort, and everyone was top-notch.
Yeah, I felt like our service was really good.
Yeah.
We went to Secrets Ties in July, and it's been open, a year and a half? And I felt like our service at Secrets Baby Beach was better.
Oh, yeah.
Which is sad in some ways, I think, but at the same time, it just shows the extent that they're going to make sure that Baby Beach has a good kickoff. I met this one guy, looked really familiar to me. His name was Edgar. He's actually originally from Secrets Royal Beach. And for some reason, he looked really familiar to me. And then he said, oh, yeah, they brought me in from Secrets Royal Beach. And I'm like, that makes sense. Like,
that's where I've seen you before.
That's where I've seen you before. So they brought in from some of the other Secrets, some of the top service staff to kind of help and make sure that everything is getting off on the right foot there. And I think that was definitely evident and shown.
Well, and this is part of why we do boots in the ground, visiting this stuff before we send people to a lot of places.
Right. I want to see it.
Yeah, you want to experience it firsthand, so you're guiding people correctly in making these decisions.
And explaining to you what you can really expect. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, am I not going to send people to Secrets Tides? No, I'll still send you there, but I'm going to explain to you what you can expect to have happen. And I think that that's really the benefit of, I call it sandals on the ground experience. I don't really wear boots unless it's like snowing, but the sandals on the ground experience of being able to see and experience these places. And that's really the value that we give our clients as a travel agent is, no, I've been there. I've done that. Here's what I think would be right for you, for your family. That's really our biggest value.
Absolutely.
He's like, sure, I don't know. You just plan on my trips. It's all good. So moving on, I have kind of a fun question. If you could describe Aruba in just 3 words, what would they be?
Oh, hot, sandy, and prickly.
Okay.
Because it really was warm.
It was.
Yeah. Not humid, but quite warm.
You wanted to be in the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Want to find the shade, find the water. The beaches are really incredible. They're first rate.
Yeah, all of the beaches as we drove around the island, just gorgeous.
And then prickly, that would be the cactuses. I did not anticipate seeing that many cactuses there. They're everywhere. But beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It was such a pretty island, such a different terrain than some of the basic ones that we typically go to.
So, Jamie, let me throw the question back at you then.
Oh, you're going to
Hey, what's good for the goose? All right, Gander. How about 3 words from you that would describe Aruba?
I'm going to go with Gatorade for the blue of the water.
Okay.
Gatorade blue. But I'm just saying Gatorade for 1 word. Peaceful. I felt like the area where we were was very peaceful, very relaxing. I liked that it wasn't all built up yet and still nice. And then unique, because it's different from any other island we've been to at this point.
Fair enough.
You like
those
them?
Are good words.
I just pulled those out of my hat. So it's all good. So overall, it was really a fun trip. And Mike, I'm glad you got to go with me. So it's nice when I get to go somewhere with Mike or with my kids or my family. It's just a different type of travel. Obviously, my work hat is always still on, but there's just something different, more relaxing, more restful about being with them than being on real work trips where I'm with sometimes strangers, usually my agents, different types of trips. So it's always nice when I get to take you with me. So thanks for going.
Absolutely. This is a nice plan B to my Chicago plan A.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for, because I usually have another big idea up my sleeve. Like, this all went down in about 2 weeks. Like, he came home and I'm like, no, let's go to Aruba. And we went to Aruba. So, yeah. Give me an inch and I'll take a mile. That's just how it works over here, but it's all good. But any parting thoughts on Aruba before?
You won't go wrong if this is something you give a chance to. I have wanted to go to Aruba for years, and the opportunity has never presented itself. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to go.
Yeah, and we'll be back on Christmas Day. We're going on a cruise with the kids, so excited to go back and explore with them on Christmas Day in Aruba too. So, well, if Aruba is on your travel list, now's the time to go. So reach out to me or one of your favorite Pineapple Escapes travel agents, and we would love to get you there and help you plan your own Aruba escape. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, travel makes life sweeter. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Travel Tidbits Podcast, where we believe travel makes life sweeter. The team at Pineapple Escapes Travel would love to help you plan a trip filled with lasting memories. Visit us online at www.pineappleescapes.com to start planning your next adventure.